Linda sang backup, but if you missed their live show, you can catch their performance in the movie, Paul McCartney's Get Back Tour. And that starts, actually, it opens here in New York. She's also written a vegetarian cookbook, Linda McCartney's Home Cooking, Quick, Easy, and Economical Vegetarian Dishes for Today. Whew, that is a mouthful title. I want to talk about the Get Back Tour because I saw it in Los Angeles at the Forum. I thought it was just wonderful. It really was a trip back, and I'd like to know what you and Paul felt about it.
We had a great time. You know, he hadn't toured, I think, for 12 years before that tour, and we just had fun.
Now, there were times where I think that it was difficult to sing some of the oldies for your husband. That's a sense that I have. I didn't feel any of that night. I felt that he loved it. It was like the brightness of all those memories and not the kind of bittersweet nostalgia.
No, I think what happened with early days and everybody was sort of having their rough times. It was harder to sing Beatles songs, but now everybody's friends and everything's fine. And, I mean, he wrote them, so I thought I might as well sing them.
Right. And is it tough for you when you're a backup singer, being a part of all of that? Everyone talks about the issue of the wife in the shadow. You've made an absolute separate name for yourself, but when you enter his realm, do you step back yourself?
Well, in truth, I'm really there because we want to be together. I don't really want to be a rock and roll singer or a star. And no, I don't mind it at all. In fact, I enjoy it. Sometimes we laugh and I say, well, I'll get my knitting out now, you know. You get out there and I'll just knit through it all. But no, I enjoy it. You know, I'm an old rocker from way back.
The fun, though, of reading about you and knowing a little bit about you is the idea that when you leave the continent and you leave England, you say it feels like a dirty weekend, leaving the children and getting away. That sense of staying at home, for people who have been in the starlight as the two of you, how have you managed that, to kind of separate yourself from the rest of it?
I find it so easy because I'm basically just a down-home person. I love nature and I love animals and I have no problem. And I think it's helped Paul, too, to having lived that kind of fast life forever. It was probably refreshing meeting somebody like me.
I was interested to hear that your awareness of food began, and of course one never knows if this is just a story, when you recognized that the lamb chops that you loved came from this precious little lamb, and you have moved in another direction. Tell us a little bit about why you feel the strength of your convictions about vegetarianism.
Well, the truth is I was an animal lover as a kid, and I never connected that an animal had to be murdered for my plate. And we were up at Paul's farm that he had before we met, but he never went there because it was a poor hill farm, and the farmer next door took care of the sheep that lived there. And we were eating leg of lamb happily, and we looked out the window admiring our lambs, and he went, this leg, them, and he said, you realize we're eating one of them. And I went, and we decided never to eat meat again. And we don't eat fish, and we don't eat chicken. Anything that has to be murdered, we don't eat.
Well, it's interesting because the definition of being a vegetarian really goes all the way from those who will eat cheese and eggs because, in effect, the animal gives that up voluntarily, or at least with a little help.
That's right.
To those who will not eat root vegetables because it kills the vegetables when you pull out a carrot, for example. How does one start to evolve, or is that an individual kind of thing?
No, I don't eat anything with a face. And in truth, I don't eat anything with a nervous system, because when you think of it, an animal's anatomy is the same as ours, and down the spine, all the nerves come off. And they feel it when they're going to be killed, and it's frightening, and they scream just like we scream, and they watch their children being killed, and it's horrific. Now, a vegetable doesn't have a nervous system. And I mean, in truth, I wouldn't eat a vegetable.
So when Jerry Baker says the talks plant to me, you don't
No, I think they feel. I think trees feel. I think all living things feel. But animals we are animals. And so, I mean, kids these days, somebody was telling me her 4-year-old daughter said, Mommy, beef is a cow. Lamb is a sheep. I'm not eating one, Mommy. I want to get them all in our garden so people will stop eating them. And it's true. And I mean, you eat a chicken's breast, or you eat something's liver or a rib. And once you connect, why bother? You don't have to.
Why do you think that some folks are a little unhappy? You want to get the truck drivers, the meat eaters, and give them a substitute, and others say, that's like wearing fake fur.
I, in a way, agree, but I'm trying to get to the meat eaters, not the vegetarians. And I think you've got to start by saying, look, a lot of people think vegetarian food is bland and boring, and they think it's hard to cook. Well, I made this cookbook for people who literally cannot boil an egg. And I'm saying to the truck driver's wife, cook him one of these recipes and don't say anything. He'll love it, And he'll be healthier. Doctors are saying it's much healthier. When we went veggie over 20 years ago, oh, where will you get your protein? Where will you get this or that? As if they're saying meat's healthy. But doctors are now saying, don't eat meat. Chicken has as much cholesterol. In fact, cholesterol is only found in animals. And in the lean bit of the animals, everybody thinks, oh, it's the fat. It's the lean bit.
Well, clearly, I think the two of you are quite a good example of the fact that you can be very healthy. Listening to him play and sing last year certainly demonstrates that. I thank you for being with us, and good luck with your new movie. Coming up, you probably